Have you ever reread a text like 5 times, wondering if you said too much? Or do you find yourself asking for reassurance again and again from your partner, even though you hate yourself for doing it? Well, that's relationship anxiety. And relationship anxiety doesn't just show up in big jealous fights. It also hides in small habits that push people away. When I say relationship anxiety, I mean the fear of losing the relationship, the fear that makes you overthink or over-apologize or hold back the real you in some way. In this video, I'll walk you through 10 subtle micro habits that fuel relationship anxiety so that you can feel more peace and connection with the person or the people that you love. And if you want help making sense of relationships every week, this is the place for you. Just hit subscribe. Okay, 10 micro habits that fuel anxiety and strain your relationships. Here's the first one. You're probably very familiar with it. It's catastrophizing. In other words, jumping straight to worst case scenarios. Like if they don't text me back immediately, they must be angry. Well, that keeps you tense, and it keeps everyone around you feeling like they're walking on eggshells. Here's another one you're probably familiar with, living in what-if mode. Because you catastrophize, you start planning for every possible outcome. What if he ghosts me? What if she's mad? The problem is that your mind is in a future that hasn't even happened, and people around you can feel that when you're physically there, but emotionally absent. Here's one I call mirror mode. It's replaying conversations over and over again in your head, asking yourself, did I say that right? Did I look upset? You become both the performer and the audience of your own life because you're so concerned that you're going to say something wrong or do something wrong. And it's exhausting for you and for the people who never get the real present you. This is a big one, conflict dodging, over-accommodating the other person just so that you can avoid tension. And it backfires. Resentment piles up over time and the other person never gets to know the real you. Here's the fifth one, text decoding. You reread messages over and over, looking for hidden meaning that probably isn't there, especially if it's the guy who sent the message. He's likely not overthinking it at all. But when you assume every word carries extra weight, you put pressure on the other person to over-monitor themselves too, and that can drive people away. See if this one's familiar to you, over-apologizing. So saying you're sorry too much, either because you're taking on blame that isn't yours, or because you're afraid that they'll reject you. Either way, it trains people to see you as smaller than you are. This is one that surprises people, overscheduling. You fill your calendar to the brim, not just because you're busy, but because it keeps you from facing relationship tension head on, which makes you anxious. The problem is, your relationships end up fighting for scraps of your attention, and you can't just ignore problems and hope that they just go away. This might surprise you. Pre-emptive caretaking. Doing favors or overgiving just to keep the other person happy. The problem is, if your whole strategy is avoiding their disappointment, you'll never find out if they can love the real, imperfect you. Body scanning for panic, like checking your heart rate, your breathing, watching for signs of panic. It pulls you out of the moment and it puts strain on your partner who feels your fear without knowing what to do about it. And then finally, hyper-clarifying. So you're constantly re-explaining, adding these little clarifiers, just so you know. See, it seems small, but it makes every conversation heavier than it really needs to be. Now, which of these micro habits do you notice in yourself the most? Drop it in the comments. You'll be surprised by how many other people experience the same thing. Here's the good news. Anxiety in relationships doesn't make you unlovable. It doesn't make you any more broken than the rest of us. Anxiety can come from genetics. It can come from your family wiring, or it can come from painful experiences that you've been through. But anxiety is just one way that your body and brain have learned to cope. And that makes you human, not unlovable. And while some people may struggle to understand it, the right person will love you. Quirks, worries, anxiety, and all. What matters is learning how not to let anxiety run the relationship, because the danger of relationship anxiety is that it keeps the real you hidden. You become more of an observer than a participant, more of a performer than a partner. Real connection doesn't come from perfection. It comes from authenticity. Now, if this resonated with you, I'd love to hear again which of these micro habits shows up most in your relationships. Drop it in the comments. There'll be other people that will be very encouraged to hear that they're not alone. And if you want more tools to untangle anxiety and build healthier connections, this is the place for you. People are complicated and relationships are hard. They're worth it, but they're hard. And to make them make sense, hit subscribe. Grace and peace to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.